anymore, the whole thought of getting out and being mobile becomes a chore, and that's what Advantage is here for. But I understand, this is something really cool, that you guys have affected other things than the vehicles we may see from a physically challenged person. In fact, there may be a vehicle that you guys have touched that most of our viewers may have come in contact with and may have even been in or ridden in at one time in their life, whether they're getting out and about in the Detroit area, and that's that you've done a commercial project for the Detroit Zoo. Can you tell me a little bit about that, guys?
Yes, we made the zoo train accessible for people in wheelchairs, walkers, scooters by installing a power ramp on there where the driver can push a button. He pulls right up to the loading dock, the loading platform at the 3 different stations at the zoo,
Right.
and ramp unfolds. Somebody in a wheelchair can ride right in there. There's seating for other family members. Wheelchair gets tied down for safety,
Right.
and they can enjoy the
Off
zoo
you go at the Detroit Zoo.
along with
Now, did
everybody
they
else.
give you the actual zoo car to take to the shop? I mean, it matches the rest of the train at the zoo, right?
Yes, we actually had it picked up by a tow truck that tows semis and brought it to our shop, and it was there for about 4 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And we equipped it and took it back and wired it, and it's a beautiful.
He should
Really
tell you
nice.
about the lights too, the flashing light, just like a railroad crossing above the ramp.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah, it's kinda
the
cool.
the lights on either side of the ramp.
Okay.
When the safety system's turned on, the lights flash like a railroad flashing
Exactly.
light. And it's kind of cool.
So if someone is riding the zoo train, or if you're out at the zoo this summer and you ride or if you've driven on the zoo train, you know that Advantage, that car in the back that handles the wheelchair ramp, that was done by Advantage Mobility. That's really cool that you guys were
cool
able to
project.
modify, and that's really, when you think about it, it's because you were known for that expertise.
It's a custom touch, you know, not every job is straightforward. A lot of it takes some thought, some planning, some engineering.
Yeah.
And we've got some pretty skilled technicians.
Well, then they must have known that it's not something just a welder is going to cut around. Somebody that has experience in building these things and knowing the kind of challenges that an engineer would face to try to get it to all work, especially something like the zoo. Can you imagine the duty cycle at the Detroit Zoo during the summer? How often that's...
They use it a lot.
Yeah.
And it took a lot from our guys. A lot of our guys have been in this business for over 20 years, and not just technicians, but I like to think of them as craftsmen.
Sure.
They can really put a personal touch to things.
Good old Detroit engineering went into
Exactly.
that
At
thing.
There you
its
go.
best, at its finest.
Well, then, that leads us to another area of that we can talk about today, and that's that it's beyond the personal thing in the zoo. You guys also have commercial vehicles that you can modify for people that are in the business of hauling people that are physically challenged, and it starts with what, like churches and schools? Or?
School buses, budget cuts at all the schools.
Oh, yeah.
Don't really want to buy new buses.
Right.
We can equip a bus with a wheelchair lift, put a big door in the side of it,
Yeah.
put the lift in there.
You mean a current older model bus? You don't have to buy a
Yes.
brand new bus for the...
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
to get
Correct.
modified.
We can do that. We've done airport shuttles for a lot of the big companies.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have been thinking of a commercial account with an airport, but that, that's another one. What, are you talking about those big long vans that people would get into, like the shuttle bus?
The shuttle bus,
Shuttle
rental
buses.
car buses, that type of thing. They all have to have accessibility options for their rental clients.
We
So,
do senior centers or senior transport, and a lot of the commercial transportation that's provided to physical therapy, you know, taking our people back and forth to physical therapists.
okay, yeah. So you guys could, let's say a company has a vehicle, but because they're now in the business of providing that transportation service, they would need to have it modified. So you would do that on the commercial account as well.
Sure.
So, okay, so depending on, not just like a personal application, depending on what their business need would be, they could come sit down with you and say, here's our vehicle, here's our business need,
Absolutely.
here's what we need to do.
Yep.
Oh, that was, again, too cool. Now, I understand that that doesn't end there, that there are people that have other, maybe they're out on a golf course, they have other little vehicles that are not truck or van based. What are the kind of utilities, the little sporting vehicles that you guys mess with?
That's the fun stuff.
Yeah, I know.
That's the fun stuff.
I bet you she knows how to drive a golf cart.
Golf cars,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
golf
the guys
cars.
like to see those come through the door because it's you're really providing somebody with a quality of life then when they can get back in their golf cart. You know, that's the big thing nowadays is, the handicap sports. special needs sports. And you give somebody a golf cart that they can get in and drive with hand controls,
Wow.
ride their scooter right into it,
Mhm.
and they're off and running.
Even local car shows, which you know Detroit is noted
Oh,
for.
gosh, yeah.
Saw it at Meadowbrook this past year. Handicap-equipped golf cars, gem cars, yeah, shuttling people
So
around.
electric carts, the gem cars that you can bring to them and say, you know, hey, Advantage, I want to get this to maybe go to do a show or to
Exactly.
take people around, and you can modify that just as if it were a bus or a van or a truck.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the same kind of things that you do, lifts and seating and all that stuff is all applicable there?
Lifts, ramps, everything.
Hand controls is a big one.
No, you were
Yeah.
talking a little bit earlier, Lynn, about you know, getting out, and Jeff, you talked about going hunting. People actually use these for the beach, and I mean, what recreational
Absolutely.
vehicles,
Yeah,
recreational use. I
any
know you guys know the big growth in ATVs.
Mm-hmm.
No one would try to get something like that done, would they?
Oh, sure they do.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, they get in those. We put hand controls in them because with the Michigan laws, people can hunt right from a UTV or a truck. So
I can't believe that.
somebody gets out on the road or out in the woods right in their UTV, and away they go.
But how would
You
they?
know, John, if it moves, if it's a vehicle, we can adapt it.
I can't imagine. I mean, to me, that's a shock because, so if you had, say, a golf cart and an ATV, it's not like a scooter where you can just, you know, stick it on the back of your car or a wheelchair where you can throw in the back. How would you get that thing around? Do you have a way to teach them to put a trailer or loading it? Do you teach them that as well?
Sure, we have a lot of options as far as trailers, special lifts that tow right behind your vehicle that we can hook up for all those different applications.
Oh my goodness. So you could pull right in with your golf cart into a specialized trailer for that use on
Yes.
your vehicle, and you don't need anybody's help. You can get in there and, oh, that's just amazing, guys.
Push a button
Yeah.
and a cover comes down over the top to protect it, and
Now, someone
Away
told
you
me,
go.
and I think you guys even talked about earlier, that you can even make some changes that make a recreational vehicle like a motorhome or a trailer more accessible. What are the kinds of things you would do? Tell us some of the things that, I know you were talking earlier about a guy who had was it an old Lincoln Zephyr?
yeah, 59 Lincoln Zephyr that he redid himself, and just as a hobby, he was into cars his whole life, ended up hurt, and wanted to continue, and he redid a Lincoln Zephyr.
So it's got a,
Which he drives in the Dream Cruise.
oh really, so you can,
Yeah,
our
you'll see it.
viewers can see him on
Yeah.
Woodward. And
Yeah.
let's say you have a mobile home or a trailer and it's got a narrow door, or you can't get up into to access the trailer. Is there ways you can help? I mean, you don't have to structurally change those things, do you?
Sometimes,
Really?
yes, we can put a simple lift, again, power step possibly, maybe a lift that you stand on to get you up to floor level of a trailer, all the way up to putting a full-size door on the side of a trailer with a lift that comes out from underneath to pick a wheelchair up and get
That's,
it
you
inside.
know, you guys,
Yeah.
it's really enlightening and amazing. But all this stuff costs money. So tell me how someone would go about, even if it's for your own personal vehicle or maybe a commercial account.
Yeah.
How are some of the ways they can get this done? I mean, do you have a bank that works with you, or are there financing options they can use?
There's your standard vehicle financing through your local dealership. There's special help, special loan funds for people in wheelchairs, Michigan Rehab Services for people looking to go back to school or back to work.
Okay.
There's
At
a lot of
times,
different.
insurance may, you know, be involved, especially if it was a motor vehicle
Right.
accident. There will be insurance.
Well, I understand if you buy a brand new vehicle from the big three, and I believe also Toyota,
Yes.
that there's even
A rebate.
a rebate system.
Yeah, a rebate
How much of a
system.
rebate could you get on having this? And is it up to
Well-
$500-600?
No, much more than that. Some of the vehicles, the big three especially, they go up to $1,200.
Oh wow.
That to help you towards your.
And you will help them get that rebate if they
Yes.
bought
Yes,
decide to
we
buy a
can
new
fill out,
vehicle?
we can fill out all the forms. We work with all the dealerships.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are other people that are your competitors, and but how does one go
Absolutely.
about choosing? You know, they always tell you that you always want to get references, but how, if you haven't done this before, what are the kind of things that you should have someone look for, and that Advantage has in their repertoire that you should look for when choosing someone that's going to modify your vehicle?
Well, there are associations
Okay.
who will certify you, and you do want to make sure that you find a dealer that is certified. The main body is NMETA, which is the National Mobility Equipment Dealer Association. And they will usually issue what they call a QAP, their Quality Assurance
Okay.
Program logo, and you should look for that, a yellow and blue
You
logo.
see that logo
if you
on
see
there.
that logo,
You know this
yeah.
guy just didn't attack with a Sawzall.
Correct, yeah, he's been
Exactly.
through some serious training to get that seal.
Oh, I can imagine.
And
I know.
ongoing audits, yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Are you Q1 certified that way? Do they do quality audits on your
They will
conversion?
do, it's similar to a Q1 audit, but you'll get this QAP, this
Okay,
QAP
that's
designation for mobility, to
cool.
signify mobility.
Oh, that's
Yes.
well, definitely you guys have that. The other thing I want to ask you about is, you know, we all talk about it's easy to buy something in today's world, but then when you buy it and you see you drive off the lot with your new vehicle and they say bye bye, and
Yeah.
it's always the service after the sale. Do you guys provide service? So, for example, what if, okay, Jeff, I bought a lift, I went to Meyer at 10 o'clock at night and something happened. What do I do?
Sure, we have our after-hours service assistance program. We refer to it as ASAP, where you call our 800 number, goes directly to one of the technicians in the back. They take turns with and it goes right to their cell phone. You're not getting an operator, somebody taking a
No
message.
answering service.
Right,
Oh,
go-
is that fantastic?
Yes, and then we provide preventative maintenance on the mobility equipment
Right.
for as long as you own it, twice a year. You bring it in, we go through it, check your wire connections, fluids, things like that, to try to prevent any kind of unnecessary mishap.
Well, you know, it's so important in today's world to know that there's
Absolutely.
somebody there. And I know you guys are watching TV and you see those commercials, and sometimes you call up somebody and it's that, what was that, Peggy, who's out there in the middle of nowhere, and you actually, sometimes I always call in and I get a recording and it makes me crazy, and you can talk to a person when you have something like this. That's an advantage for mobility.
That's an advantage,
That's right.
yes.
Well, guys, I'm really excited about the kind of options that the company offers. And do you have a phone number or a website that we could put up to show people that where they call if they have information and maybe they just want to learn a little bit more? How do they get in touch with you guys?
Absolutely, we do, and www.advantagemobility.net.
.net. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it. We have an 800 number, and I think they're
That's-
going to put it on the screen.
800-990-8267 or VANS.
800-990-VANS.
VANS.
Okay, that's absolutely the way to go for nowadays. So it's really great to know, folks, that we have a company here in Detroit. You know, this is the Motor City, and it's great to know that after 100 years of providing our society mobility solutions, that we have a company here in Detroit that can give people, even with some challenges and physical challenges, the ability to get out and about and to be mobile in this great world of ours. Well, I just wanted to thank everyone again. Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you,
guys, and
John.
telling us that. And thank you for joining us here today on In a Heartbeat. And just remember that the Motor City is the place to get help when you have these challenges, and be mobile, get out and about. This is what we do in Detroit, so I'm really pleased to know that we can provide this. And remember, when you're talking about being empowered and being mobile, the bottom line is knowledge is power. I'm your host, John Clore. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.